This video covers phase 3 and 4 in TVCC's horsemanship class. Here we have the phase 3 score sheet on the left and phase 4 score sheet on the right. The way I've set up this video is to show a combination of each task in each phase together. So it'll make most sense if you watch the video with both score sheets in front of you laid out in a similar manner, so it's easy to follow along. Some parts are review, similar to last time. Next, we have areas that we are continuing to build on, such as horizontal direction at the extended trot and lope, as well as stage 2 at the trot and lope, and using jobs to help the horse practice his foundation and find holes, such as opening and closing a gate in stage 3. And lastly, we're incorporating some new tasks, such as vertical direction at the walk, slow, and extended trot, as well as rollbacks on the fence. And lastly, introducing the horse to a rope, accepting the rope, and tracking a dummy or a cow if available, as well as dragging and roping a dummy while showing all 4 stages with willing submission and vertical direction. Here's a copy of Remi's score sheet following phase 3 and 4 over the last week and a half. He did have a little bit of downtime due to some inclement weather and holiday schedule, but overall he caught on super fast, and I'm really pleased with his progress. At the conclusion of this video, I will go over what I think his advancement has been in each category of foundation, task completion, and overall temperament. In the meantime, please enjoy this last video. The first task in phase 3 and 4 is going to encompass a review of some of the things the horse learned in the previous phases. Here we are demonstrating his ability to stand still while being mounted, which he does great with. Now we're going to go through a review of horizontal direction in stage 1 at a standstill, as well as doubling at the walk, the trot, and the lope. Doubling, by definition, is a combination of horizontal direction and stage 1 in order to disengage the horse's hind end and stop forward motion, and kind of work as an emergency brake should the situation ever arise. As you can see, he does pretty well with this, and so I give him an average score of a 2. The last part of the review from previous phases is the horse's ability to lope outside in a straight line, which he does pretty well again, and so I will keep his score of a 2. Here is the third task in phase 3, which is demonstrating horizontal direction at a slow and extended trot. There's 6 signs we look for in correct horizontal direction, which would be a break in the pole horizontally. The nose should be directly underneath the eye, and we shouldn't be able to see any white in the eye, as well as watching for the front feet and hind feet traveling as the same path as the nose. The pole and loin should make a perfect C around the rider's leg, and therefore should be able to ride in a perfect circle. Remi does a pretty good job of this. He is a little bit stiff, and at times his circle isn't quite accurate. We're using the barrel kind of as a center point for our circles, and so, but he's pretty willing overall, and so I would give him a score of a 1. Now we're continuing with horizontal direction, this time at the lope. This will be the second task in phase 4, both directions. Remi actually does a pretty good job of loping a nice even circle and staying light between my hands and my feet. And so overall I give him a 2. Now we're moving into stage 2. This is the 4th task in phase 3 and the 3rd task in phase 4. And Remi is demonstrating stage 2 at a standstill, and then from a walk, and then eventually a trot and a lope. Stage 2 has kind of been Remi's struggling stage throughout the duration of this term, but I think that he's made pretty good improvement overall. He's softer and not as lazy as he was at the start. And I'm pleased with his ability to even pick up speed and come back down and go into stage 2, and I ask him to. So overall, I give Remi a 1. Here's where it starts to get fun for Remi, in which we're using his vocabulary words to start to perform jobs. And he does actually really well with this. This is demonstrating stage 3 while opening and closing a gate. He's pretty responsive here. It was a heavy gate and I had trouble getting the latch to work properly, but he stayed right with me the whole time, and therefore I'd score him a 2 on this task. Here is stage 3 without using the fence or a gate, and I'm super pleased with how responsive he is in performing this task for me, and so I give him an overall score of a 3. Here's an introduction into stage 4 from stage 3. I'm going to use my left leg and my right rein to ask his nose to come around and for his front feet to cross over each other into stage 4. And again, here's showing it from the other side. He does really well with this, and so I score him a 2. Here's a continuation of stage 4. This is the 5th task in phase 4. Without using the fence or beginning in stage 3, and he does pretty well with this, and so I give him an overall score of a 2. Now we're moving on to the 7th task in both phase 3 and 4. This is vertical direction at the walk, slow trot, and extended trot. I think Remi does really great with this task. He's super soft and willing, and so overall I give him a 3 on this task. Here is Remi demonstrating a rollback at the walk, both directions, using the fence. While slow, I believe he does this fairly correctly for me, and overall I would give him a score of a 1 for this task. Here is part of task number 8 in phase 3. We had the opportunity to track an actual cow, and so we took advantage, and Remi did great. He absolutely loved it, and I had a lot of fun too. So overall, on his ability to track the cow, I give him a 2. This is task 8 in phase 4, which is dragging the dummy and showing off Remi's 4 stages with willing submission and vertical direction. You'll see here I stop, and I'm going to ask him to come around in stage 1 to face the dummy, and I will also ask him to go backwards in stage 2. I'm slipping rope while I'm doing this, and then I'll ask him for stage 3, both directions, which he's doing really great so far. And then finally, I will ask for stage 4 and move his shoulders over and get facing forward again. And I think he overall does super awesome with this, and I score him a 2. These final 2 video clips are continuations of task number 8 in phase 4. Here we are roping the dummy, and the next clip will be roping the cow, and I think that he does super great considering my very novice roping skills. This is the part where he proves that he could fill in for an inexperienced rider, especially while roping or handling cattle, and so overall I give him a 2. I'm going to finish with a brief overview of how Remi's advancement has been in achieving the training trifecta, which looks at foundation, task completion, and overall temperament. Remi's foundation is pretty solid. He isn't super fancy or exceedingly light, but he knows all of the vocabulary words, and they're right there when I want to ask for him. So I would give him a 1 for foundation. Task completion, which is using the foundation to do jobs, I would actually score him at 2 because he seems to get a little more life in his feet and he gets excited about going and doing something, which I think is really natural for a horse and a really good quality. And so I'm really pleased with that with him, which is why I'm scoring him a little bit higher than the foundation. But I think that once the foundation improves a little bit more, then the task completion would also improve as well. And lastly, for temperament, I would have to give Remi a 3 because of his really great personality, his easygoing demeanor. All in all, this horse is meant for my 4-year-old son, and so I'm really grateful I've gotten to use him for this program, kind of see where his holes are, what needs to be improved on, what to make what's good even better. So I feel really great about putting my children on him because his foundation is there and he's willing to do what is asked of him and has a great personality to back it up. So all in all, I'm really pleased with his progress, and I thank you for following along with us.